Hello everyone, and here we are, Tuesday, a beautiful day out. Tonight we're going to be doing, we're not going to do a rosé, we're going to switch over, we're going to do a French white. Okay, we've done a number of French whites, but we haven't done much up in the Burgundy region. This is a Bourgogne, okay, and it's Aligote. It's like the third popular grape that's used in the Bordeaux region. They use it in the United States also to give wines more character that need a little structure and give them a little aroma and acidity. It's a grape that does very well with the cold weather and stuff. But this is probably one of the most famous and oldest estates. Okay, it goes back to the 1717. Okay, and this is one of the heirs to it who has his own one now, but this is Olivier Leflaive, okay, Olivier Leflaive, and Charles Leflaive was the first to founded the vineyards, 6 generations now, and then what happened is then Charles had it, and then when he passed, he left it to his descendants. He had 14. Now, not everybody wanted to work it. So 2 people ended up. One of it's Oliver, or not Oliver, they call him Olivier. It's a man's name, but it's Olivier in French. But Olivier, he went in, he left, he was managing folk bands, and lived in Paris. Loved art, loved folk, ran a couple of concerts, he managed a couple of groups. And then there was Anne Claude, who was another cousin of his. They both came back. Now this vineyard is world renowned, so they have no one to run. So those 2 come in, they have 14 heirs that share it. When they first got back together in the 80s, 84 he came back at around age 45. He came back and said, you know what, I want to come back. Had enough of Paris. Let me settle down. Let me get into the wine business. And there's 2 different lifestyles. Okay, so he broke out and he has his own vineyard now. But they're 2 intertwined. Now, what happened was she made an excellent, and Claude made an excellent wine, and she went with low yields, and she wanted to go the organic, save the land. And he came back, Olivier, and said, "Wait, I think we can do. I don't mind making a great wine, but I also want to make a good wine that can be, priced right." So he was trying to market, and it was like 2 different worlds. Matter of fact, she produced a wine that got 100. Now, people go the whole lifetime and not get 100. Her wines, very few wines, but her wines sell for $1,000 a bottle, $800 a bottle, $1,500 a bottle. When they're released, not 10 years later, and not in a restaurant. This is right out of the chute. She makes an exceptional wine. She eats lunch with the workers. She's in the fields. He's more of, okay, let's buy grapes, let's produce grapes, I'll own my little vineyard, but I also want to buy grapes and make grapes and produce. And he knocked the cover off. When he came back, he was really doing well. Now, when he first came back in 80, when I look back at his ratings, they were 80s when she had 92s and 94s, so she didn't like the name being, because they both using the same name, even though they're different vineyards when they split in 94. By 94, though, his wine started to produce. He started producing. He started getting 90s, 89s. He's back 10 years now. He's learning. He's in his 50s. He's putting his time in. And he really did well. He got hurt with the Gulf War. Okay, well, all of France did. France had a problem with when the Gulf War came. They were in the mild recession as it started, and especially with grapes. When they boycotted, they wouldn't let the Americans fly over their airspace. For a while there, people weren't drinking French wines. French restaurants were struggling, French wines. So, and he went to doing 20,000 cases or 60,000 cases from doing 8,000 5 years before. That happened, and he went out and he purchase new vineyards. Then he came into a struggle. He almost went bankrupt, but he came out of it, and he's got it together. And she went her way. She recently passed, and her great grandson runs it now. And no, not her grandson or her son, but it'd be the founder's great grandson. And they produce the best wine. She produces, and they maintain the family name. Olivier is come a long way. Now his wines, he had a Petard Montrachet. When he showed his reds, he didn't do well. When he showed his whites, he did extremely well. He got 91s, 93s. His best red was like an 85, 15 years ago. Since then, he's revamped it. He's produced some excellent wine. Like he has wines that sell for $700. He produces more of a $100 bottle, $80 bottle, $150. When you start pouring La Montrachet, Petard Montrachet, Chazan Montrachet, Polini Montrachet, the Montrachets are like, when you have them, their structure, it takes a while to taste them because they're excellent. My favorite wine, one of the favorite white wines is a Montrachet. But it's, the prices are, like and they produce a fine Carton Charlemagne. Now, Carton Charlemagne, you can buy that for $80 a bottle. You want that with lobster. Feel like you hit the triplet aqueduct. It's fantastic. But we'll try this. This is a half bottle. This sells for $9. Okay? I think I might have made a mistake. Maybe I should have went. It's a 2014 too. In 2014, the weather was excellent. Okay? In 2014, they great weather, not by the by the weather for the thing, and it got a 96. So they usually rate it from an 80 to 100. Good, bad, but the conditions were great. This is no 96. This wine though got a 91. Sells for $9 for a half bottle. Now here's the key with a half bottle. You take this half bottle when I'm done, and you pour wine in it. When you only have a half bottle, you clean this out. You take the full bottle. When you get, let's say you're only having a half bottle at night, you pour the other half right in here. Put the topper on it. It will stay 3-4 days because it's the air in the bottle that ruins the wine. If you take a full bottle, 750 bottle, have it down to here, that wine will dissipate. You put the stoppers in, still doesn't work as good. I used those for 7-10 years. They're okay. They're better than not having them. But this is the best way to do it. Pour it in, pop it. You can have it 2 days later. Now this grape, okay, they use this grape, this Aligote grape. They use it because it gives you, it doesn't, Burgundy's higher in France, right? So it's colder up there. And it's not like the south of France. So it gets cold. They could have frost. No frost here, okay? So what they do is they test, this is resistant to frost. It's a strong grape. And what they do with these grapes is like, let's say a month before harvest, 2 weeks before, they'll come out, taste the grape. Then they take a sugar content. They want to see the content of the sugar. Because if the sugar's 11.5%, the alcohol is going to be 11.5%. Your sugar is your alcohol. If there's 12.5% sugar in that grape, when they take it, especially if the grape gets smaller, it's going to be more sugar and better. If it's puffed up too much, it's not as good. And you don't want to beat up by hail the grape. This is going to have like almost like a Chardonnay smell. Well, all the grapes are Chardonnay, but it's got a nice nose. It almost, I didn't think it would drink this big. Now, if this was a Montrachet, it'd take you a minute and a half you really got to pull the flavors out. Smell it, it's got apple. It's got like an apple citrus. It's like they call it like a poor man's Burgundy. It's a rich man's Chardonnay. This would sell as a Chardonnay. This would sell for the full bottle would sell for $21. And this is 2014, which is a good year. But this only got 2 years left. You're not buying this latest down. You want to drink this year or the next year. That's it. It's nice and dry. It's bold. It's well, they had two different ideologies, you know. And Claude, she wore the coveralls and the work shirt, and he wore the cashmere. But they both knew how to make wine. She made the better wine, but it's just a marketing thing. See, this wouldn't be in her wheelhouse. Although she does make a Leflaive. The Leflaives are nice, and they're reasonable. This is 20%. They pick the grapes in two different regions. Like he buys them, same region, Burgundy region, but two different vineyards. Takes them, they do a 20% maceration. You know, they press them. 20% is done in stainless, 80% in oak. And that will change. Some years they'll do 40, 20, 50, 50. It's up to the vintage, what they did. And he finally went into low yields. You know, his thought, he got with William, one of the big shippers in New York in the 90s, said, let's market this thing. And what he did was, he said, look, we got a Cadillac name, let's just give him a good Buick, you know, price it right. And that was his term, not mine. I'm a car guy, but he said, listen, let's just we'll give him the Cadillac, but we can also make him a nice car. The soil's clay here. The weather was great in '94. It's cold, but this grape works with it. And you know, this is an earlier harvest grape. So a lot of times you'll see they'll harvest because they got the workers. If you can harvest this and get this done a month before the other grapes, it's a win-win. Sometimes you're just sitting around waiting. Now this is nice. This is mouth-watering. This is nice. I think I made a mistake. I should have got the big bottle. Now we got the test tomorrow. Okay. We've got climate, weather, location. French too. Real cork, not synthetic. Okay, natural cork. Yeah, but he went to old vines, lower yields. So you know you could see his after his first, he had a rocky start there, and then about 7 or 8 years later he took off. You know, him and his brother Patrick. I mean, they really, you know, they do a nice job. So this is a nice wine. Okay, take care all. I'll see you. God bless, and things are getting better by the day. I'll see you. Bye bye.